And now we are coming to the close. We brought in Peter Wattson, who former nonpartisan staff from Minnesota, frequent assistant to us at NCSL on everything we do relating to redistricting, and someone who is going to be able to tell you how to defend your plan or find out if your plan is defensible. So Peter, your assignment is to sort of wrap up about 1 million things people have learned today and give a few takeaways. Can you take it from there?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Wendy. Good afternoon, everyone. You've spent the day learning how to draw redistricting plans that will stand up in court. I'm going to conclude with a review of some of the tools you might want to use to judge whether you have succeeded. Some of these tools will be easy to understand, some not. I've allowed about 5 minutes for questions. If I see you've posted one as I'm speaking, I may answer it then or defer until the end. You'll find the tools on the Event Resources tab on your screen. They include a copy of New York's districting principles and several maps and reports describing a hypothetical plan for Minnesota congressional districts to be used for the 2022 election. The geography, population, and election statistics are for Minnesota, but the techniques used to analyze the plan could just as well be used in New York. I'll walk you through each of the maps and reports. Please begin by opening the one with the longest name, the fifth one on the list, 2022 Congress PWC01 State Metro C map reports. Start with a zoom of 100% and then adjust to your preference. I'll explain it in a moment. The fundamental question you want to answer is whether your plan adheres to New York's districting principles. As you know from this morning, two of those require equality of population and minority representation. In the PWC01 packet, if you'll look at it now, you'll see the first page is a map of the plan. District populations have been equalized based on 2018 population estimates from the Census Bureau and our Minnesota State Demographer. The deviation of each proposed district from the ideal is shown in red. After the map, the first report is on population equality. The most important number is at the upper right, the overall range, 0.22% or 1,539 persons. This might look like a failure since most states draw congressional districts with an overall range of 1 person or less. But higher overall ranges have been justified by other principles, such as preserving political subdivisions or the cores of prior districts. You heard a little bit about that this morning. This plan consists of whole cities and towns and 93% of the cores of prior districts. So there is at least an argument it meets the principle of equal population even for a congressional district. With a legislative plan, if you keep it free from other indications of discrimination, any overall range less than 10% should be defensible. The second report in the packet is on minority representation based on voting age population. You can see the plan does not include any candidates for further review as a possible minority opportunity district, the threshold for which I have set at 30% or more total minority voting age population. But the relatively small minority populations in all the districts make it difficult to support a claim that the plan denies or abridges minority voting rights. In New York, a minority representation report will presumably be subject to a wider variety of interpretations and thus more subject to attack. In the third report, the contiguity test is absolute. A district is either one area or more than one. If it is only one, it is defensible. The fourth report shows various measures of compactness. Compactness is not absolute, it's relative. A plan need not be the most compact of all those considered. It need only be reasonably compact. As compared to other plans, your plan may look better on some measures than on others. You'll want to emphasize the measures on which your plan looks best. If your plan looks worse than alternative plans on all the measures of compactness, you are in trouble. Sorry, I don't have a report on whether assembly districts are convenient. For you, that'll be an essay question. The next report, the partisanship report, includes 8 measures of the partisan impact of a plan, most of which are standard in the literature Professor Duchin and others have published. A new one I added last month is the proportional seat gap, which compares the number of seats likely to be won by a party with the number of seats proportional to its statewide vote. I've defined competitive as a winning margin that is a plurality of 8% or less. New York might prefer a different number. The report shows the number of districts that are competitive and the party favored to win them. Whether a party is favored or disfavored can be seen by looking at the proportional seat gap, the mean-median gap, the lopsided wins gap, the efficiency gap, and declination. The ideal is for all these measures to be 0. The closer you are, the more defensible the plan. Whether incumbents have been favored or disfavored can be seen, in part, in the incumbents report, which shows whether incumbents have been paired and with whom. In this plan, you'll see no incumbents have been paired. The next report is one probably totally new to you. It's called a swing to lose pendulum. It combines the impact of the plan on both parties and incumbents. It takes the district pluralities from the partisanship report, sorts them by party, ranks them from highest to lowest, and cuts them in half to show the swing in support that would be necessary for the district to be won by the other party. The safe districts, those with a plurality of 20% or more, have a swing to lose of 10% or more. The competitive districts, those with a plurality of 8% or less, have a swing to lose of 4% or less. Incumbent names from the incumbents report are shown in blue for Democrats and red for Republicans, quickly identifying incumbents in districts that lean toward the other party and where the closest races are likely to be. The report on cores of prior districts shows both the population retained from the former district and the population added from another district. The report on political subdivision splits shows both the number of subdivisions split and the number of times they were split, as well as the population assigned to each part of the split. Whether communities of interest have been preserved has traditionally been an essay question. But where the community's boundaries have been added to a map, such as with Indian reservations, their preservation can be shown in a communities of interest report. As in other states, most of New York's districting principles are not absolute. They are relative. Your plan will be judged in part on how it compares to alternative plans, some of those ensembles Professor Duchin was showing you this morning. Those plans may be historical, current, or future. One alternative to which your plan is likely to be compared is the last plan, the one adopted in 2012. In Voting Rights Act jurisprudence, that is called the benchmark plan. but the population statistics against which your plan is measured are not the population statistics from the 2010 census. They are the population statistics from the 2020 census. Old boundaries, new statistics. The Minnesota Congressional Plan's 2020 base map and swing to lose pendulum are also on the resources tab if you want to take a look at them. The plans from the previous decade or two as adopted might also be compared to your plan. An example of that kind of comparison is also on the resources tab. The 2022 plan comparison. A court considering a challenge to your plan is also likely to consider any alternatives presented to the legislature while the plan for 2022 was being drawn. But alternative plans are not limited to those presented to you before your plan was adopted. Depending on the circumstances, a court may permit a plaintiff to submit an alternative plan drawn after yours was enacted. When drawing your plan, you will want to have explored a wide variety of alternatives beyond the one you eventually selected, so you will not be caught off guard by a plan unveiled for the first time in court. If your plan is challenged in court, it is normal for a plaintiff to draw a plan that is better than yours on some measures. It's harder for a plaintiff to draw a plan that is better than an enacted plan on all measures. Be sure that your plan has at least some features on which it measures better than all the alternatives. Be comforted by the fact that usually a court will give the legislature the benefit of the doubt. I'll be happy to take any questions. I haven't seen any so far.
Well, Peter, that was just fabulous. You did exactly what we asked for, which was sort of bring together some of the learnings from earlier in the day and make it come to life again. Peter, would you get your email address into the chat box in case anybody wants to communicate with you afterwards? Oh, that's fine too. Or no, I'm looking for your email address, and certainly Christy can put it in there. So everyone, we are just almost at the book hour in New York. I will say that I've been thinking about my takeaways from this event, and here they are. You should learn your state's redistricting and political history before you embark this decade. Aim to stay out of the courts by drawing within the lines, and by lines I mean court precedent and as criteria. Do engage with the public. They want to have a role in this decade too. And don't be penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to hiring attorneys. I think they're going to be earning their keep this year. So I'll just close by thanking UX Assembly and David DeCancio again for giving us this opportunity. And I want to say to all of you that we at NCSL work for you. So please do stay in touch and stay safe. Thank you.